Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a family film from 2009. That movie is Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel. And that subtitle makes me cringe every time I fucking say it. Now, I'd like to say that I guess I should explain. Those of you who didn't catch my previous video where I covered the first Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, I went into that thing with literally zero hope. I feared the absolute worst, and the movie surprised me by actually being watchably decent. So, as much, guys, as I'd love to say that I'm dreading this, I'm holding out hope that this thing will be as good as the first one. My doubts are real strong that it's going to be that good. In fact, I have this inkling dread that it's going to suck. Part of that is from the multitude of YouTube comments on that first Alvin and the Chipmunks video, people warning me that all the other sequels are fucking hideous. But there is still that hope. The first one shocked me by being decent. This one could also shock me by also being decent. I have no idea. The only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel. So, the movie's just started, and every near relative that the fucking Chipmunks have been horrifically injured and hospitalized. That just seems so wrong. I feel really bad for, I guess, their cousin Toby. Great, however the fuck related he is, because so far, he right now is like the only one who hasn't been horrifically wounded, and I'm just counting down the seconds until he winds up in a body cast right along with Dave and Aunt fucking Jackie. Okay, so apparently if bullies pick on Theodore, Alvin and Simon will maul the shit out of said bullies. That was really fucking cool, guys. That honest to God was. I really fucking liked that. Well, guys, I can at least say that the music is still complete shit. This time, though, guys, it's not just a song poorly fucking auto-tuned and pitch-shifted. It's a shitty song, poorly auto-tuned and pitch-shifted. And you'd still think, with all the pitch-shifting and shit going on to make them sound like chipmunks, they could auto-tune them to at least make it sound like it's on key. But no, they couldn't even pull that off. God fucking damn it. I kind of sort of guessed that music would have been the big stumbling block here, and what do you know, it totally fucking is. Alright, I got a dumb fucking question here, and this is more of a logic question than it is anything else. Why exactly would this school book a sing-off between two bands who are competing to be their representatives in a $50,000 music competition? Why would they hold that sing-off the same day as a football game with their high school team? You would think both of those seem incredibly important. One of them is for high school sports. All schools have some big boner for high school sports. The other one has the potential of $50,000 if the winning team goes forward and wins. So, why would you double book this? Why the hell would you have the competition on the same day as a football game when you've got a wide open calendar? You could have held it on a totally different day of the week, and we wouldn't have this retarded little plot point of Alvin trying to hit both. I'm just saying, guys, the whole thing feels kind of forced and incredibly fucking stupid. Well, guys, I was not really expecting this. Even the music that's not from the Chipmunks is kind of shit. Considering the fact that it's supposed to be like a multi-school music competition with a large cash prize up. if all of the acts are as bad as the two I've just seen, I don't think any of these schools deserve $25,000 for their fucking music, programs, because I feel that would be squandered money. Good lord, the music in this movie is fucking torturous, man. It really fucking is. Well, guys, that was Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, and no matter how many times I say that goddamn title, it's going to make me fucking cringe. Anyway, yes, that was Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. Let's discuss the film a little bit. I want to go back to the first film for just a sec, because I remember watching it, and I remember saying that for every little negative the movie had, it was outweighed by a whole lot of positives and sweetness and stuff that was actually kind of touching. And this movie is the polar opposite of that, where instead of it being a whole lot of sweet moments that are brought down by a couple of little niggling shit moments, it's a movie full of absolutely horrendously bad writing and terrible story, occasionally peppered with moments that are funny or maybe even just a little bit sweet. That's a terrible thing to have happen to this film, guys. I'm going to tell you. Because as much as I can tell you that there are some moments in this movie that are genuinely awesome, unfortunately, you would have to slog through the rest of the movie to get to those few awesome moments. So if you want to see David fucking Cross in drag singing falsetto with sock puppets, that's fine. That was funny as shit. Unfortunately, that little segment is right towards the end of the movie. You have to slog through about 80 minutes of trash to get to that point. For every genuinely hilarious moment, there's at least 10 minutes of garbage you have to get through to get to it. And my God, guys, it's just, there are problems with this story that I still don't fully get. So I mentioned this, part earlier, that there is this big singing competition at the end of the movie, where all of these schools in the, I guess the Hollywood area all sort of get fucking together, and they all send one musical act. The winning school gets $25,000 that goes towards their music program. And the Chipmunks have been sent to this one high school. Apparently, young Chipmunks just go right to high school. I would never have guessed. And the Chipettes just happen to be sent to the very same school. So they have a sing-off. The school schedules said sing-off on the same day as a fucking football game. Not only a football game, but it was an away game, meaning that the team wasn't even in the area. And they just made Alvin part of the team. So the school willingly double-booked this thing, even though both the football game and the sing-off would both be probably of close to equal importance in the school, because the football game is the football game, and like I said, schools have a thing about, high school sports, because it brings in a lot of money. But the sing-off is for $25,000 that would go right to your music program. $25,000 your school does not have. These are two very important things. Why the fuck would the school double book this? And you think about it, and the only reason why they did it is so that way we can get this tension between Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, because Alvin is never there. He's always with the fucking football team. And it sets up this false fucking drama that didn't have to be there logically, would not have been there logically if any of this was done right. And it's little shit like that that just bugs me. Not only do we have that, but we then have, I just mentioned, the fucking Chipettes. And the Chipettes, I would have loved it if the Chipettes were actually fleshed out any, but they aren't. The Chipettes are essentially going through the first movie's plot in fast fucking forward, so we get little snippets and highlights of basically shit that we saw in the first movie, because it's Ian treating them the same way that he treated the previous Chipmunks. The only difference being is that Ian is trying to focus entirely on Brittany and is trying to push the other two in the background. Actually, he did that in the first film too, trying to focus more on Alvin than Simon and Theodore. It's literally a rehash of the first movie, and the Chipettes wind up coming out of it empty, hollow, and pointless. They are only in here specifically to build a worthless conflict that didn't have to be there. They could have spent some time trying to flesh the fucking Chipettes out, and they didn't. Which is kind of sad, considering the fact that the first film went to such great lengths to actually try to flesh out our fucking chipmunks. You would think that by the time their female counterparts came in, they would have gotten at least some kind of, like, fleshing out and depth, but there isn't any. In fact, guys, this movie essentially goes above and beyond to basically just go, they are identical to Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, only they're women. See? Look, we have one that's slightly taller and has glasses, one that's short and fat, and one that's got a fucking ego and is kind of sort of the leader of the group. They are 100% identical with no real distinguishing personality traits or features, and it gets really dull really fast. See, guys, I had hoped for the writing to at least be halfway decent, but the fact that they didn't try to flesh out our new characters any, in fact, actually, because Dave spends most of the movie in a fucking hospital in France, the Chipmunks are basically in the care of Toby, who's I guess a family member of Dave's. I believe he was the grandson of the aunt who was supposed to watch them before she, like Dave, wound up in a body cast in a hospital somewhere. And Toby's entire personality can be summed up with, he's a gamer. Like, that's literally it. He's a gamer, he's a slacker, and his high school life was shit. That, honest to God, is his entire personality. Which means that, once more, we have a character who could have been easily fleshed out a little bit, and there was no fleshing out done. In fact, every single new character in here is just basically there to take up fucking space. And as for the characters who are coming back, none of them have gained any real depth. In fact, honestly, the Chipmunks and Ian all come out a fuckload more shallow in this film, because there's no attempt to add more personality, and they just almost seem like caricatures of the characters we saw in the first film. Guys, the writing in this thing was lazy and shit, and what few interesting or funny moments are in here are not enough to warrant watching the goddamn thing from start to finish. This movie, guys, runs, let me double check that runtime, 88 minutes, and out of that 88 minutes, there's maybe 4 minutes of decent shit in here. That means that there is 84 minutes of borderline, unwatchable, poorly written bullshit, and that is nothing short of tragic. Now, while I could rail on the writing more, and Lord knows I've spent plenty of time here bitching about this fucking writing, our acting is a little bit worse. Now, I said when I covered the first film that we had David Cross and we had Jason Lee, and those two know how to act, and even though neither of them were given a whole lot to work with in this film, they both just absolutely shine. Whoever in the hell they cast as Toby, he did a halfway decent fucking job, but the rest of our cast didn't fucking care. Even, guys, I talked about the Chipmunk casting in the first film, and I said that the only one who tried was the one who played Theodore. It was Jesse McCartney. Even he comes off empty and dead-eyed in this fucking thing. He has no personality. He isn't given anything to worry about, except now Theodore's got a pathological fear of eagles for the whole fucking movie. So every single time that he sees anything eagle fucking centric, he gets all fucking jittery, screams, and runs. Which of course becomes a running gag because they go to a high school whose mascot's a goddamned eagle. Yay. Even he isn't putting in any effort, and whoever the fuck they cast as the fucking Chipettes, they put in even less effort than than our fucking Chipmunks did. And considering the fact that two-thirds of our Chipmunks couldn't fucking act in the first place, the fact that the friggin' Chipettes turned in an even worse showing is nothing short of fucking tragic. This movie's acting sucked, barring 2 or 3 decent actors, and even they don't really seem like they want to be there. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys right now, Jason Lee and David fucking Cross, as much as those two can weave borderline gold out of anything, no, they couldn't hear. They fucking tried. Bless them, they fucking tried. But unfortunately, when you're given dialogue which is this lifeless, even your best attempt is going to come up a little bit short and a little bit worthless. Guys, oh my god, I am kind of stunned by how bad the acting's gotten from the first film to this one, where even people who I thought were decent in the first one are turning in showings that are not that good. My lord, that is terrible. Okay, again, I could probably go on about the acting, but let's touch on singing, because I complained about the singing last time in the first movie, but the singing in the first movie was kind of shit, partially because it was pitch shifted and auto-tuned and all this other shit in order to sound like Chipmunks. Not only do we have that happen here, and every single song which this is done with sounds fucking awful, but because this is a school music competition, we then have people who don't have the benefit of auto fucking tuning, and auto tuning would have helped every single one of those tone deaf, worthless sacks of shit we see on stage. The music in this movie, from start to finish, barring 1 or 2 soundtrack selections, is terrible. The singing sucks. The music, for the most part, is mixed horribly. Guys, I kind of figured that music was going to suck here. I was not prepared for this level of suck when I hit play. This was fucking disastrous. So I'm really not going to go into music much more beyond that, because I feel that doing so would be a waste of both my time and yours. So why don't we move on? Special effects. Here is the one shining spot this film has, because the CG in the first movie was pretty fucking decent. The CG here is almost as good. I have to say almost as good. There is definitely a quality drop in the CG. From the first one to this one. This one, it is, the fucking CG and the animation is nowhere near as fluid, it's nowhere near as crisp, it's nowhere near as sharp. It looks kind of lazy and it looks sort of sloppy. I will say, though, that they did do a good job whenever characters are mirrored on surfaces or when they're casting shadows. At least all of that is done well. It's just that the actual motion on characters' faces looks incredibly lazy. It looked terrible in certain shots. And mind you guys, now, like, those shots again are all kind of short and you're not really supposed to be looking that closely at the fucking chipmunk faces, but they shouldn't be that bad. This was pretty fucking terrible in terms of CG, at least compared to the first film. The first film was decent. I actually kind of liked how the CG turned out in the first one. This one, no, there's just nothing. If there's any positives I can give this thing, it's all fucking technical shit. It's all basically stuff like our lighting, our fucking lighting, our camera work, our sound mix, all of that was fine. Unfortunately, when the only real positives you have are technicals, you still have a movie that sucks, because your writing and your acting and your soundtrack and your score and everything else comes off like shit. And once more, for the few fleeting moments of interesting or funny scenes we have here, you still have to slog through the rest of this bullshit to get to it. So guys, when all said and done, am I able to recommend Alvin and the Chipmunks the Squeakquel? No. Fuck no. This thing is such a horrific drop in quality compared to the first film. If you liked the first film, and I mean absolutely loved the first film, then you might get a kick out of this. In fact, I will say, as flawed as this movie is, I do have to go back to the fact that it is a family film. It is mainly targeted towards children. Most children are not going to care about the problems I have stated. Most children are going to absolutely adore this thing. So if you happen to have kids and if they really like the first film, by all means, show them this one. They might, and they might still really like it. However, if you're, let's say, over like the age of 8, you're probably not going to like this because you are going to notice a whole lot of the flaws. The flaws are going to jump out, and they're just going to be so noticeable. And the problems in terms of writing and acting are going to be so fucking noticeable that you are not going to be able to personally enjoy it yourself. So, I guess the best thing I can say is that if you have kids, go for it, because the kids are going to fucking love it. And if you want to spend some quality time with them, by all means watch it, but you are probably not going to have a whole lot of fun with it, but your fucking kids are going to love it. If you don't have kids, and even if you like the first movie, your best bet's to avoid this thing. This movie was just fucking garbage from start to finish. I hated this thing. And now I'm filled with fucking dread because I got 2 more of these goddamn things I have to watch. I'm certainly hoping for there to be a bit of a quality jump between this one and the third film, but I'm not holding my fucking breath on that. Now, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Daniel. You can find his Instagram page at instagram.com/KimJ1990. Daniel, I thank you. I was certainly curious about this, especially after the first film turned out as decent as it did. Unfortunately, the Squeakquel, God, I hate that subtitle. The fucking Squeakquel was horrible, but I wouldn't have known that if you hadn't sent it in, and for that, I thank you. You're fucking awesome. Once more, that is instagram.com/KimJ1990. Swing over there and check out everything which Daniel has. Now, oh my fucking God. I think I need to go watch something else. Just looking at my Blu-ray collection. Police Academy. I've got all the Police Academy movies right there. I think I'll just start with the first one, and I'll just start rocking my way through. I just need something funny to kind of remind me what comedy is after this musical comedy abortion just all but killed my brain. God damn it, this was bad. I really dreading that third movie. But hey, I don't have to worry about that right now. I'm so happy I've at least got the second one done. I'm halfway there, guys. I'm halfway the fuck there, and I couldn't be happier. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.